A revocable living trust is an essential document when setting up an estate plan. However, most people don't exactly know what it does or how it's beneficial for them and in what way it can be beneficial. So that's why in today's video, we're going to talk about exactly that. My name is Jim Purdy, and I'm the founder of the Purdy Firm, and we've set up hundreds of revocable living trusts for Florida residents, so they benefit in all the different ways that I'm about to tell you. So first off, what is a revocable living trust? Well, in its simplest explanation, is a revocable living trust is a document that sets forth your wishes for what you want to have happen to your stuff, your estate, in the event that you become incapacitated or when you pass away. A revocable living trust is sometimes confused with a will, and they have similarities, but they're very different documents, and they're very important differences. The most common use for a revocable living trust is for estate planning, where somebody says, I'm going to put my property into a trust, I'm going to control that trust during my lifetime, and when I'm gone or when I'm no longer able, I don't have the capacity, physical or mental capacity to control my estate, then I'm going to name my successor trustee, and that successor trustee will then carry out my wishes in taking care of me while I'm alive and taking care of my beneficiaries according to the terms of the trust that I lay out. So it's a great document for that. And one of the most important distinctions between a trust and a will is that a trust is essentially a contract document and a will is a probate document. A will has to go through the probate process, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. There are great benefits to being outside of the probate process. There's great benefits to having a private contract where you can lay out exactly the terms and conditions of how your trust and how your estate is going to be administered. Now, there are some terms and some different parties involved in a revocable living trust, and I'll just explain those briefly. First of all, the person creating the trust is called the grantor. They're the person who grants the different power and responsibilities that are contained within the trust. They're also the one who puts their assets into the trust. That's called funding the trust. So a trust that's not properly funded is a trust that doesn't actually control anything, and it has no proper effect. So it's very important that a trust gets funded. Once the grantor establishes the trust, they are going to name the trustee, and the trustee is the person who carries out the terms of the trust. Now, that trustee can be the grantor. In a revocable living trust, it is always the grantor. So you set up a trust for yourself, you name yourself as a trustee, and you continue to control your property just as you did prior to establishing the trust. Now, when you make yourself the trustee, you can appoint a co-trustee. That's very common in a husband and wife situation where you have a couple and they own property jointly, and so they're going to be co-trustees. You can also designate successor trustees, and that's who's going to become the trustee upon your death or incapacity. So there's always somebody in control of the trust that will carry out your wishes in the way that you have laid out in the trust itself. And finally, there is the beneficiaries. This is also named by the grantor, right? Who's going to get your stuff when you're gone? Now, it's typically going to be your children or other family members, people that are close to you, people that you care about. It can be anybody, though. It could be charity, so it could be your church. It could be a cause that you feel deeply about. There's no real limit. As long as it's not illegal or immoral, you can leave your property to whomever you like in your trust, but that's the beneficiary. So let's talk about how those revocable living trusts can help you. For most people, the most important reason as they think about it when they start this process is that it can help you financially. And there's two ways that this does this. One is it avoids probate. And the cost of probate in time and money can be astronomical, but it's always going to be more than the cost of establishing the trust itself. In many cases, it can be 5 to 10 times more to probate an estate than it would be to set up a trust and avoid that probate completely. So there can be tremendous financial savings from having a revocable living trust. Now, the second way that can help you financially is there are tax benefits to having property properly funded into a revocable living trust. Now, this isn't the primary tax planning tool. A revocable living trust is not, but it can help in that area, and it can help quite a bit for a lot of estates. And so it's important to know and understand that. Now, the second reason and the second benefit to having a revocable living trust is that your assets are protected and you still have control over them. So because a trust is a a contractual document, you can set it up in any way that you want. And you can put in protections, and you can put in subtrusts, and you can create trusts for beneficiaries. And within those trusts, you can set up terms and conditions that make it impossible for creditors or predators to come in and to take the money or the property that you've left to your beneficiaries due to a lawsuit or divorce or anything of that nature. Again, within a trust, there's great flexibility in how you set it up, and you can do all kinds of different things to protect. You can protect a child from themselves if they have, say, a drug or a gambling problem, or from others, a bad divorce or creditors or lawsuits, anything of that nature. You also have complete control over the distribution of the assets in the trust, and that allows you to protect them in any way that you choose to lay out within the terms of the trust. Now, one of the best benefits of a living trust is that it offers privacy. We talked about probate, and we talked about the expense of probate. That's only one of the costs. Another cost in probate is lack of privacy. Your privacy doesn't exist in the probate process. Probate is a public proceeding. You file a will in probate, and that is a public record down at the courthouse, and so everybody can know your business. And in fact, there's a cottage industry of companies that will go and look for high-profile probate cases so they can report on that and tell stories about that, and who did what and what they did or didn't provide for within their estate. But with a revocable living trust, you can preserve your and your family's privacy because it doesn't go to probate. It's not filed with the court. There's no public record of it. There is a trust document, and that is known to the trustees and to the beneficiaries, and it's all handled outside of court and is handled privately. After hearing all of this, you're probably thinking about setting up a revocable living trust as soon as this video ends. Well, you're in luck, because if you live in Florida and you want to do just that, then click the link below and visit our website where you can book a free consultation call with us, and we'll be happy to walk you through the process and help you get your estate set up properly through a revocable living trust. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.